All right, it's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Hopefully you're in your rig. The weather's nice. You're headed home. I don't know what you're going to do tonight. Hopefully not sweat too much over the Boise State football program. We love your fanhood. We love the fanatic that you are, and that's why you're listening to Idaho Sports Talk right now. We've talked about the Andy Avalos press conference earlier. We're going to dive into it here in a second. We heard from Cody Hawkins at Idaho State earlier. That's going to be up on our website and app if you want to listen to it a little bit later. But now, Prater, we're going to set the stage on the Double Tap Pub hotline, 208-424-9300. Your thoughts on the Andy Avalos press conference, what you've heard, what you've seen so far, and what you're going to hear coming up. We're going to keep that hotline open for about a half hour, so we really want to hear from you today, Bronco Nation. We will start with Andy Avalos' introductory statement today. This is what he said before any questions were asked at his 10:30 a.m. press conference.
With the bye week being not having the media on Mondays, through the beginning of the week, we got a chance to really sit down and focus. This bye week comes at a good time where we can push pause and focus on ourselves, focus on our team, really look at what the realities are, which is, our record isn't where we want it to be. It's not the standard. Anybody around here, I know that more than anybody. But the reality is we're 6 points off from being 6-1. So now it's time to find where is that gap from those 6 points through the course of three of our losses that we've had. And that's what we get to do this week, because from 3 games, we certainly can find a gap, of where we can make up the difference, where we can grow. Yeah, we do have a young team. We've played with the 4th youngest personnel in the nation in college football this year, but we're not young anymore. These guys got tremendous experience. Our vets and leaders know and understand how they can lead and how we can build. And, it was awesome to be able to be out there with these guys these last couple of days. We just left the practice field, and that's one of the most competitive, energetic practices that we've had since we've been here. And so that's just goes to attest to the coaches and the players for us being able to sit down and take a hard look at the things that we can do better from all phases of the game, all situations from first down all the way to the goal line, field zones included, down and distances, and see, and as you watch the film, you can tell from the beginning of the year there's been, improvement, a lot of improvement in certain areas, but it's just, again, it's not enough to make up for those 6 points that we've lost by in those games that obviously make a tremendous difference in what the record looks like. But we're excited. We're excited to practice one more time tomorrow, and then the guys will get a couple days to get a breath of fresh air, which they need, they deserve. Again, they've been awesome this week. It wasn't easy coming off the last game. And they've done a really good job rebounding, coming back, and having some fun.
208-424-9300, Double Tap Pub hotline, Prater. That was just the opening statement. That's all. That's not all we're going to play. We have a ton of other clips for his response to several questions on the press conference, but I want to get your comments on the opening statement. I have mine as well. Go for it.
I thought he said exactly what he should have said and acted just like what he said. We talked earlier in the show about it. I thought he was a little bit more adamant. He talked a little faster, joked that maybe he chugged a Red Bull that he came in. His hands were a little bit more jumpy around the podium. He talked with some speed. He certainly talked with some conviction. He gave the evidence to support himself, to support his football team. And I know that you get some eye rolls out there with the fans, and I certainly get that. We're going to explain some of that and dive into that some as well. And, practicing the best practice. I know we've been hearing that way too much this year.
Yep.
6 points away from 6-1.
Yep.
He's 3 plays away from being 1-6. I get all that, but did you really expect Andy Avalos to stand up and say, I suck, my team sucks,
nope,
and I'm giving up? He did exactly what you want in your head football coach. Whether you like him or not, I don't care. He did exactly what you should do as a head football coach, to stand up there and say, we're not giving up. We're focusing. We're not dealing with the outside noise. And he was asked specifically about the outside noise. And he says, we're circling around family. I'm talking to boosters. I'm talking to recruits. He said and did all the right things today, as far as I'm concerned, even though some of that probably didn't sit well with some of you guys.
He said, and I quote, today was one of the best practices we've ever had. He said that twice today. And yeah, he said that all year, right?
Yeah.
He's not doing a walk of atonement for you, Bronco Nation. He's not going to take his clothes off and walk down the middle of the street and let you throw stuff at him and tell him how lousy he is at his job. He's going to do the opposite. He's going to tell you how good he is at this job and how good his team is and how much they're going to rally. And that's how it's going to be. And yeah, they've lost a lot of close calls. I just think, and this is a direct quote, the reality is we're 6 points off from being 6-1. I hope that's not his kiss of death. I hope that's not Tim Plow. I don't even look at the scoreboard until 50 are up there. Sorry, I just don't. I hope that doesn't come back. It feels to me that quote, if this thing doesn't get turned around, is never going to go away in this town. We're only 6 points from being 6-1. Well, you're only 11 points from being 1-6 or whatever the heck it is. I don't know if that quote, Prater, is going to come back to bite him in the butt a little bit.
I don't think so, because it's true. And if things get uglier, and things get uglier, and he's got more issues down the road, then they're going to focus on that. They'll focus on a crappy Wyoming loss or a crappy Air Force loss or a crappy Fresno State loss. 6 points. He had the 2 field goals, Central Florida and Memphis, and then obviously the Hail Mary. So he's 6 points and 1 Hail Mary is probably the more accurate way to say it. But I'm not going to sit here and defend him. I get it. That's him out there finding the positive and defending his program. And that's exactly what he should have done today as a football coach of this program.
Double Top Pub Hotline. Steve, first up on Idaho Sports Talk. Steve, bring it. You're on the line.
Hey, yeah. So I'm not an expert, obviously, in Boise State football. But when I look at the team and I think of, Andy Avalos being a star linebacker for Boise State, I would expect that he would have a better grasp of the athletes that he's putting on the field on the defensive side of the ball, because I am not seeing the strength, the agility, the speed that you would expect from a well-coached, well-recruited defense. I think the offense is doing pretty well, with the exception of maybe some pass blocking, but the defense is just not bringing it. It's just depressing to watch teams cut through them like butter. From my perspective, that's the sadness.
And you're not wrong on the back half of that, dude. The defense is terrible, and we've been focusing on the defense all season long. I think the offense is fine. He's never had a 5-game stretch Avalos has had during his Boise State career where they've scored as many points as they had, despite the ugliness of this quarterback system. But the defense is gross. The defense is bad. But to say that he doesn't have a grasp of that, I'm not sure that's the case. I think maybe he was caught off guard with there's no talent back there. That's catching us all off guard. I hope that's catching him off guard as well. The linebackers are okay. The defensive line's a work in progress, but the back half of that defense right now is unexcusable, even from his mouth.
Let's hear from Andy Avalos when he was asked about the noise, the outside noise, how Andy Avalos processes the noise outside of his program.
I don't, to be honest with you, 100%. I've told you guys before, I don't pay attention to the outside noise. I never have, and I'm not going to start doing that. I know the team that we've recruited and the team we're building, the record. I'm not happy with the record either. I don't think anybody is, right? But the reality of it is it's not where we want to be, especially in the non-conference. But we have an opportunity here in our conference where we're 2-1, and we have the ability to work for our goal down the stretch here, and that's the bottom line. Again, as bad as the record looks, we're talking about 6 points. There's no excuses, though. For me, it's in our staff and our players, it's within where those 6 points can we all get better to make up for that. Again, we're not a young team anymore. These guys have played 7 games now. We got a lot of experience. We're going to be able to apply that as we move forward here down the stretch in the second half.
Here's the one thing that drives me personally the craziest about this football team, and I don't know if you guys agree, but just the inconsistency, ups and downs. A great first half, a horrible second half, and vice versa.
Yep.
Andy Avalos, why is your team so inconsistent?
We're playing young players. There's plays at the end of the game there's plays at the end of the game. There's plenty of things at the end of the last game that we control and we could have executed both as coaches and players, and we both take that. Starts with me. I'm at the forefront of that. For all the fans out there and all that, that's on me, number one. Whether it's offense, defense, special teams, or the players, that's on me. I'll have their back every single day of the week. And I look forward to going down the stretch and marching in each one of these battles that we're going to have, because they're dang good teams we play. But the bottom line is, yeah, the record isn't what we all want it to be. Okay. I don't know anybody who's going to be happy about that. But the reality is we're talking about 6 points and we're not having this discussion. So let's find within those 6 points that we can get better. All the things that we've learned from in our experiences, we grow. Whether they're veterans or young players, we've been in a lot of end of game scenarios this year. Okay. Fair to say we have the experience of those things. And how will we operate going forward? How will we be able to build and use the experience to build the confidence to go when we're put in the next end of game situation, knowing whether it's 4-minute, 2-minute drive, whether it's a special teams end of game situation, we know now because of the experiences we have exactly what we need to do and how we're going to do it.
208-424-9300. Call if you want to get in on this. Andy Avalos earlier today for his press conference addressed how he is processing the losses over these last few days.
For me, Mike, I've been fortunate to be a part of some really good things, and that's given me the opportunity to learn and grow, and then be able to take experiences like we're talking about and put it into certain situations, be able to apply certain things. But I've also been a part of things like this, way back when I first started coaching. For me, it's always about keeping perspective, number one. Okay. That's the hardest thing to do in this world. Trust me, I want to be at a certain spot right now too, but I'm thankful for the Lord. Like all the things that happened the other night, in the last 6 minutes, it happened for a reason. And we take that in stride, and I'm going to stay by what I always do, which is walk in faith and answer to a higher being. And our players have done a really good job. Again, this week, we dusted ourselves off. We got back on the field, and we've had some of our best practices. We truly know and understand who we are and what we need to do to be our best moving forward. And to be honest with you, it was fun out there today, Mike. Those players, they helped me. The guys on this team, the way the coaches are coaching right now, the enthusiasm, the way they're getting after it on the practice field, the way everybody, that's fun. I'm not going to lose the joy of that, even though our record isn't what we want it to be. I'm not going to lose the joy of being at my alma mater and getting to coach football here and be around these guys each and every day.
Again, there's Andy Avalos. Plenty more where that came from. Is there a potential divide in this locker room with players taking Team Green or Team Mad Dog? Andy Avalos will address that when we come back. And Jeremiah Dickey, his boss, where's he going to be Friday at 4 p.m.? Is he taking it off for the bye week? No, he's going to be on Idaho Sports Talk. Yes, Jeremiah Dickey has the stuff he wants to say to Bronco Nation. He's going to say it at 4 o'clock on Friday right here. 208-424-9300. JP, line these calls up. When we come back, a little more Andy Avalos and a lot of you, Bronco Nation. Prater in the Ballgame.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is